The twin suns of Varys 4 burned hot over the battle plains, shimmering on the armor of thousands. The tournament of blood and honor had begun, a gathering that drew every ambitious warrior in the galaxy. It was not simply combat. It was where alliances were forged, rulers were tested, and the greatest warriors proved themselves before all. At the center of it all was Corella Vorn, the most feared warrior woman of the Xerac Dominion. Towering at nearly 7 feet, her crimson skin etched with ceremonial scars, Corella was not just another fighter. She was the daughter of the High Matriarch and heir to the Dominion throne. The galaxy whispered her name with reverence and fear. Her spear had split star beasts in 2. Her war cry was said to make hardened mercenaries falter. Every empire wanted her. But among the spectators, buried in the crowd of mercenaries, politicians, and alien warlords, stood a human, Elias Kane, mechanic. A soldier once, perhaps, but now just a wanderer with oil-stained hands, hiding in the shadows of beings far greater than himself. He hadn't intended to come to the tournament at all. He had drifted here with a transport crew, curious about the infamous event. Watching giants clash seemed far safer than involving himself in their politics. Humans, after all, were still relatively new to galactic society, respected for their adaptability but rarely seen as equals among the great warrior races. Elias didn't know his quiet gaze had been noticed. The tournament. The games began. Colossi fought beasts from across the stars. Armored titans dueled with plasma weapons. The crowd roared as warriors shattered bone and steel. Corella outshone them all. Her spear flashed like lightning, each strike perfectly precise. She felled a Zorith berserker twice her size, wrestled a serpent beast into submission, and defeated 3 challengers at once without losing her breath. The stands thundered with cheers. Nobles, warlords, and suitors sent forward gifts, chests of gems, promises of fleets, offers of entire planets. Dozens knelt at her feet, begging for her favor, her hand, her power. Corella barely acknowledged them. Her golden eyes searched the crowd, not for warriors, not for kings, but for the quiet human who had dared to look at her not with fear or hunger, but with something else. Curiosity, respect. When their eyes finally met, Elias froze. The most dangerous woman in the galaxy was staring directly at him. He did the only thing he could think of. He gave her a small, awkward nod. She laughed, loudly, in front of everyone. The choosing. On the final day, tradition demanded that the champion choose. Warriors of every race waited, expecting Corella to name one of them. Political strategy dictated she ally herself with a powerful house, cement her future reign. Corella raised her spear, voice booming across the arena. "Everyone wants me," she declared, her voice sharp as steel. "But I want you, human." The stands erupted in chaos. Gasps, outrage, disbelief. Some laughed, thinking it a jest. But Corella leapt from the podium, her massive frame landing gracefully before Elias. She extended her hand, palm open. "You," she said simply. "Come with me." Elias blinked. Me. Are you serious?" "You looked at me without trembling," she said, her voice lowering so only he could hear. "Not as a trophy. Not as a tool. You saw me as me. And I want that." Every eye in the stadium burned into Elias, waiting. He could refuse, he realized. But a refusal might insult her, and insulting Corella Vorn was a death sentence. Still, his pride bristled at the idea of being chosen like a pet in front of thousands. So he straightened his shoulders and said, "If I come with you, it'll be as myself, not as your prize." Corella's grin widened. "Good." She seized his hand, lifted it into the air, and the galaxy knew her choice was made. The Court of Fire. Days later, Elias found himself in the heart of the Xerac Dominion, inside a palace carved from black volcanic stone. Here, Corella was both admired and feared. Ministers and generals demanded to know why she had chosen a fragile human when entire empires offered her strength. "You could unite galaxies," one elder spat. "Instead, you bind yourself to this." Corella slammed her spear butt into the floor, cracking the stone. "This human has more honor in his quiet defiance than you do in all your armies. I do not need another sycophant. I need truth." They did not dare argue further. Elias, however, struggled. He had not asked for this. Guards trailed him everywhere. Alien nobles whispered insults, calling him weak, soft, unworthy. At feasts, Corella sat proudly beside him, ignoring their stares, but Elias felt the weight of it. One night, after a long council session, he finally spoke. "Why me, Corella? I'm nobody. You could have chosen anyone. Rulers, warriors, champions. Instead, you dragged me into this." Corella removed her ceremonial armor, revealing scars across her arms and chest, each a story of battle survived. Because everyone else sees Corella the warrior, Corella the heir, Corella the weapon. You looked at me and saw Corella, the woman. Do you know how rare that is? He swallowed. "And if I don't want this role, then say the word," she said softly, "and I will set you free. But I hope you'll stay." The threat. Freedom, however, never came so easily. Whispers of assassination grew. Rivals plotted, furious at her rejection. Some feared that by choosing a human, Corella weakened her line, jeopardized the Dominion itself. Others simply envied her. It came to a head when the palace was attacked by mercenaries hired by rival houses. Plasma fire lit the halls. Guards fell. Corella fought like a storm, her spear dancing in deadly arcs. Elias, unarmed, ducked behind pillars, adrenaline flooding his veins. One mercenary spotted him, realizing the human was the softest target. Elias didn't think. He grabbed a fallen guard's sidearm and fired. The shot wasn't perfect, but it dropped the mercenary before he could strike. Corella's golden eyes flicked to Elias as he stood there, chest heaving, weapon shaking in his hands. When the last mercenary fell, Corella strode to him. Instead of scolding him for risking himself, she placed her massive hand on his shoulder. "You fought," she said simply. "You didn't hide." "I'm not a warrior," Elias muttered. "But I wasn't going to let them take you." Her expression softened, rare for her fierce features. "And that is why I chose you." The bond weeks turned into months. Against all odds, Elias adapted. He wasn't the strongest, but he was clever. He repaired weapons, optimized palace machines, and taught Corella's soldiers unorthodox human tactics that surprised even her generals. Slowly, the whispers of doubt began to fade. Corella and Elias grew close, not just as protector and chosen, but as equals. He teased her about her grim seriousness. She mocked his small frame but secretly admired his stubbornness. One evening, after a long day of drills, Corella sat beside him on the palace balcony. The red sky stretched endlessly, twin moons rising. "Do you regret it?" she asked suddenly. "Being here?" Elias asked. "No," she said, her voice softer than usual. "Being mine." Elias studied her. The warrior feared across the galaxy, sitting with vulnerability in her eyes. He realized then that she wasn't asking as a princess or as a warrior. She was asking as a woman. "No," Elias said finally. "I don't regret it." Her hand brushed his, massive compared to his own. And for the first time since they met, Elias reached back without hesitation. The test but peace was fragile. The Dominion's council demanded Corella prove her choice. They claimed the human weakened her image, and that if she wished to keep him, Elias himself must fight in the next ceremonial trial. Corella raged. He is no gladiator. This is a ploy to kill him. Then perhaps he should not stand at your side, the council replied. Elias, listening, stepped forward. I'll do it. Corella turned on him. No, you'll be slaughtered. Maybe, Elias admitted. But if I back down now, they'll never respect you. Let me fight. Reluctantly, she agreed, but trained him herself. For weeks, she drilled him in spear techniques, footwork, survival. His body ached, but he endured. He would never be her equal in strength, but Corella reminded him. You are human. Use that. Be cunning. Be fast. Endure. The day of the trial arrived. Elias faced a hulking reptilian warrior, scales thick as armor. The crowd jeered, expecting a quick execution. But Elias didn't fight like a Dominion gladiator. He dodged, ducked, used the terrain. He baited the reptilian into a charge, then rolled aside, grabbing a spear and striking its exposed side. Blow after blow, he chipped away until, bleeding and exhausted, his opponent fell. Silence and cheers. The council could no longer deny him. Elias had proven his worth, not by being the strongest but by being himself. Corella stormed into the arena, lifted him into her arms as if he weighed nothing, and roared to the crowd. This human is mine, and I am his. The galaxy heard her. Ending from that day forward, no one questioned Corella's choice again. Together, she and Elias became a legend. A warrior princess and the human who stood at her side, not as a slave, not as a prize, but as a partner. And though every empire had once wanted her, Corella had only ever wanted one thing. Elias. The human who saw her not as a weapon or a throne, but as a woman. And in that, she found a strength greater than any army.